Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. The first is Old Charter, introduced in 1874. No age statement any longer. 80 proof from Buffalo Trace. Now, there's the link below. Now, at previous times, there was an 86 proof Old Charter. There may have been a 100 proof also in a 90. I know for sure there was a 10-year age, an 8-year age, and a 7-year age stated product. Okay. But now currently they're running this for their standard Old Charter. Now there's the Old Charter Oak edition, which are in special oak treatments. Mongolian oak, French oak, and others. So, but those are more expensive specialty Old Charters, but this is the standard one, okay? Yellow label with the blue and black trim. Classic label from the last. Well, this label's been around for like 40 years, but they had older type labels. Okay, mostly, but with a lot of writing on them. Here's Cooper's Craft, introduced in 2016. There may have been an early 2015 release in some markets, but it's basically nationwide 2016. I even saw a billboard in New Orleans after I was coming back from I think a Pelicans basketball game, and I saw that and I said, man, wonder who makes this. I said, I know it's not some independent company, and it turns out it's Brown-Forman. It's made in Louisville, Kentucky. No age statement either. It's 82.2 proof, and the deal with this one is that it is mellowed, not through sugar maple charcoal like Jack Daniels, but mellowed through beech and birch charcoal. Beech tree and birch charcoal. I got a birch tree growing in my backyard, and I didn't plant it. Price. Yeah, okay, price. $16 or $17 for Old Charter. And you're looking at 25 for Cooper's Craft, okay? I did not pay that. Y'all know I get these deals frequently, not always, but Walmart had this on closeout for $8. You heard me, right? $8. So I bought the bottle, and I bought a second bottle from my friend David. Cooper's Craft, Mathern's had it for $9.99. I wasn't sure that was a good price, so later I checked. I did a price search, and it was running around $22 at that time, so I bought it. It's 25 now. 25, so $9.99. So, but we're going to go by the regular price, $17 versus 25. So $8 difference. Is it going to be $8 better? Yeah, probably. When I first tried Old Charter, I didn't like it. I thought it had a weird flavor, and I scored it a B, like 83. Just a standard B score. But it grew on me, and I started to say, yeah, it's the birch and beech that's throwing me off, and I started getting used to it, and I started liking it. Now the bottle's getting low, so I'm gonna have to enjoy it. Darth Domo says, howdy. Heard a lot about Old Charter recently. Oh, you have? It's got a following. I wouldn't say a huge following, but you know, there's people that buy it. This bottle's dusty. Let me go wipe it off. I hate dust, you know. I don't like the dust though, but I do it. And so I'll just do one room a day until I'm done. Kind of like a little strategy. All right. Brucey's mentioned it in a few videos, I think, when he was bourbon hunting. Oh, okay. Brucey. Is that the guy that goes around and he finds obscure bourbons like at different little small stores? My friend David was watching that the other day. And the guy just buys and buys and buys. He must have a lot of money. Okay. I can't criticize too much because what do I do? Buy and buy and buy. Okay. Now yesterday evening was a long video, but we were just talking. I was talking to the viewers, and it was a fun hangout. But yeah, Bruzel with an L, haha. Good video is a bit repetitive though. Repetitive. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Did I tell you that? I don't like that. Okay. Last night was sort of a mismatch. It was a mismatch. Old Charter didn't stand a chance against the Kings County peated bourbon, but I knew that when I went into it. However, you are paying $40, $30 more for it, at least $30 more. So, if you're paying $30 more and it's way better, then it matches, right? It makes sense. It's sometimes though you pay a lot more and it doesn't match. Like you don't get any. It just it's not better. It's kind of like with beer, you know. You say, well, I could buy Miller High Life, and it's inexpensive and it's not too great, but it's all right. You know, it's a watching football beer, eating a ham sandwich and potato chips beer. But then you pay like $21 for a 30 pack of Miller High Life, right? $21. But then you pay like $5 sometimes for a single can of a craft beer, a pint can, and it's bad. It's not even as good as Miller High Life. So if you can't, Miller High Life is a good benchmark to use because it's always going to taste the same, and it's just like standard. And Old Charter is probably a good benchmark to use. Maybe you should use Mark as a benchmark, right? Because it's like $14, and then you can use that and say, well, this was 58 bucks. I hope it's better than benchmark, and usually they are, but sometimes they're not. That's all I'm saying. You don't always get the benefit of the extra payout. So the Cooper's Craft is a little darker here, a little bit more amber than gold, and the Old Charter is a little bit more gold than amber. So I can't look, because if I look down and see that darker shade, I'm going to say, oh yeah, that's the Cooper's Craft. No, I mean, okay. Yeah, corn, charred oak. Now it has to be aged in charred oak, but they mellow it. You know what I'm saying? They filter it through the beech and birch charcoal. But it's still bourbon. Now people will say Jack Daniels. This is what people will tell me. I hear this at least twice a year. They'll tell me, "Oh, well, it's not bourbon because they mellow it through sugar maple charcoal. So then it's a Tennessee whiskey." I said, "No." I say, "No, no, 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 no." Filtering it through charcoal or not filtering it through charcoal is irrelevant to the status of bourbon. Read the bourbon regulations. It doesn't say anything about filtering. Filtering is totally an option of the distiller. You don't even have to filter it. Might look kind of gunky. I don't know how many people would buy it, but or you can filter it, or you can chill filter it, or you can drip it through charcoal. It's totally up to you, and it has no bearing on its status as a bourbon. Now you say, but Tennessee whiskey, there's a law for Tennessee whiskey. I know there's a law. It's a Tennessee law. So what states does a Tennessee law apply to? And in fact, what countries, other countries, does a Tennessee law apply to? You know the answer to the question. Tennessee law only applies to one place on earth. Now, of course, if you tried to sell a whiskey made in Louisiana as Tennessee whiskey, yeah, you'd lose that court case because then you'd be violating then the U.S. government could get involved with the interstate commerce through interstate commerce because now I mean, you're just committing a fraud. And anyway, nobody's dumb enough to do that, so forget it. If you said, what if you made a Tennessee style whiskey? Oh, well, no, that's different. That's a different story. This has got to be the Beech and Birch Cooper's Craft. It's too rich of an aroma, and this old chart over here is too bland of an aroma. But I made a very bad misstep last night because I jumped the gun, didn't wait to taste, and I got it wrong. So I was stunned by that. But then, I mean, when I tasted it, it was so clearly one over the other. Yeah, see over here, you got like the candy corn, a little scintilla of charred oak. So if you're looking out, if you say I love bourbon because I want that char, well, then don't get old charter because old charter doesn't really have much char. Medium body, a little bit of vanilla, easy finish, no sharp edges, no bite to it. Smooth, as they say, and easygoing. And yeah, you could say it's a little bit bland, but I knew somebody that was a little bit country, and the other one was a little bit rock and roll. Yeah. It's hard to describe. Okay, so you taste the char and that, and the whole reason they made this bourbon, well, the main reason is to sell it, right? But the whole reason they made it is in homage to the 1945 establishment of the Brown-Forman cooperage. BFC, Brown-Forman Cooperage. A cooperage is a place that makes barrels. So Brown-Forman has their own company that makes whiskey barrels. Yep. And then just like Anheuser-Busch has their own glass company in Texas called Texas Glass. No, Longhorn. It's called Longhorn Glass. It's a company, Longhorn Glass. And they make glass bottles, but they only make it for Anheuser-Busch. Well, they might do it for other people, maybe if they make a contract with them, but they only make glass for Anheuser-Busch for their bottles, Longhorn Glass. And just like out in Idaho, and they have Anheuser-Busch malting companies. It's called like AB Malting. They make the barley malt for Anheuser-Busch. And then they got this other company, I think it's in California, that helps people transfer their identity. It's a new thing. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but it helps you transfer your identity. But I don't think that's too popular. It's like there's some public outcry against it or something, but they may not keep that company. But anyway, and it's a game. So I prefer the Cooper's Craft. Ding ding. Got. Oh. I got it wrong. That's a shock of my life. That's the shock of my life. This is the greatest shock since I got the Johnny Walker Blue Label mixed up once. True story, I did. I got it mixed up with a much cheaper Scotch whiskey, and I was like, well, blow me down. And I was trying to think, what excuse could I make? Let's see. Let me think of some excuses this morning. Well, let's see. I ate 2 little biscuits with sausage, and I put some hot sauce. Oh, that's what happened. I put hot sauce on it, and so that made me get it wrong. And it's not my fault. See, when I get it right, it's because I'm really good at doing this. You see, This is a strategy I use. When I get it right, it's because I'm really good at it. But if I get it wrong, it's some outside factor. So you can't blame me. And well, I used to teach high school, and I always noticed that if the student failed a test, they would say, "You gave me an F." But if they made an A, they would say, "I made an A." And I would talk about that in class. I'd say, "Isn't that strange?" And they would all laugh, you know. And the parents were the same way. "My child made an A, but you gave my baby an F because you don't like her." I said, "No, I like her fine. I don't like her answers because they're wrong. You know, they're not correct." But she could retake the test. Not the same one. I mean, the same test, but with the questions mixed up and so forth. But this time she could actually study. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what studying is? I can show you about it. I can teach you about it. It's tedious, but it's not difficult. It's just tedious, which can be difficult because you got to have self-discipline, got to have drive, got to have a work ethic, got to have a sense of responsibility. All good things, which I try to encourage the students to have. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it now, but it's too late. But I'm seeing the charred oak. Yeah. Okay. Well, And remember when I smelled it, I was thinking when I smelled it, I was thinking that was that and that. So, oh boy. Well, is the Cooper's Craft worth the extra money? Well, now according to this taste challenge, I couldn't even tell them apart. I got it wrong. So yeah, the blind taste test would tell us no. You better stick with the classic. And somebody told me in a video about some liqueur, chocolate liqueur with vodka and chocolate and cream. He said, "It looks nasty." I said, "Well, it tastes good." He said, "I guess looks can be deceiving." I said, "They can." You don't judge a product or a liqueur by its appearance. You judge it by its flavor. And you don't judge a whiskey by its notoriety, name recognition, which I guess that's the same thing. Cachet, swagger, newspaper ads. Well, they do still run ads in newspaper. Radio, influencers. You judge it by how it tastes. Because I'm gonna tell you the truth. Sorry, Charlie, but people do not want whiskey with good taste. People want whiskey that tastes good, and I'm unanimous in that. Well, old Charlie, you shocked the world this morning. Shocked me, at least. Liam Gillespie says, "Morning, Jay. What are your thoughts on Coors Light?" Well, I don't have many thoughts on Coors Light, honestly. I don't ever, except for a review situation or if we're doing an examination, which is coming up. I'm not going to pay the price for Coors Light when I can buy Milwaukee's Best Light for a significant amount less, and it's probably better than Coors Light. That's my assessment. And I think I could probably tell them apart in a blind taste test. And if I couldn't tell them apart, that would still prove the point. Because like Carlo Rossi said, if you cannot tell the difference, why pay the difference? He was saying that about wine. And that was his whole approach. If you watch the old Carlo Rossi commercials from the 1970s and 80s, he's going through different brands of wine and he's saying, you can't tell them apart. Basically, he was saying they're all common, you know, they're just common regular wine brands. So why are you paying a penny more? And his commercial was saying, my wine is price pointed lower than theirs. He didn't say it was better. He said, I'm not saying it's better, but it's just as good. And if you can't tell the difference, why pay the difference? He wasn't saying that the other ones were bad, Inglenook, Almaden, or any of those. He wasn't saying they're bad. In fact, if you watch some of the commercials, he said, these are good. Inglenook, yeah, it's good. He said, Almaden, it's good. What's that? Mondavi was the first name. Robert Mondavi. He said, it's good. I like it. He said, I like those wines, but mine is cheaper and it tastes just as good. So that's the point here. Old Charter tastes good and Cooper's Craft tastes good, but I couldn't tell them apart in a blind taste test. So why would I pay more to answer as I would not? So that was a good taste challenge. Prove some points. Well, prove points for me. That doesn't apply to everyone else. See, a blind taste test only applies to you personally on a personal level. Okay, like that. Personally on a personal level. But it could be used in a scientific format because you could see if you could have replication and validation. I think we have validation. I think it tested what it's supposed to test. Replication would tell us if it's reliable. If it's a reliable exercise, and I believe it would be. Good day, Ron, says Sam Smalley. Good day to you. Liam Gillespie says, I really enjoyed Johnny Black Label. I've never tried Johnny Walker Black Label, believe it or not. It's been on the market since 1867. But I've had Johnny Walker Double Black, which is fabulous. Fabulous. Oh, what a whiskey. Anybody that says Johnny Walker Double Black is trash is living in some kind of detached reality. I have an unopened can of Coors Light from 1986. Well, you better keep it unopened. I had an unopened can of Dixie Light from 1982. I was scared that I would leave the house one day on going on a road trip and come back and it had busted open, I mean, it's unlikely that would happen, but I was just paranoid about it. I said, man, this can. So I pulled the tab and I dumped it out in the yard and I could smell it. It smelled rancid, it smelled like old beer. The guy that gave it to me at a distributor, he was a distributor and he was going out of business, okay? And he says, well, we're going out of business, but he told me, would you like a can? He had an old 1982 can. I said, oh, man, thank you. What a collectible. He said, but don't drink it. Don't drink it. I said, man, I ain't going to drink it, So I still had the can. I didn't need the beer. Like, you like Blue Line says he likes limited Canadian. Oh, Canadian Limited from 1972. Yeah, it's been around 51 years. I'll show you what somebody gave me. Y'all want to see? It may be too far back on the shelf. I don't want to have to move everything around, but. Oh, here it is. Somebody gave this to me. Yeah, the glare. She had it in the closet since like 2005 or older than that. No, it was probably 2003. I said, well, she said, I only drank a little bit of it. I said, well, why are you getting rid of it? No, I said, why'd you buy this? She said, well, I used to drink. She doesn't drink anymore. So she said, I just never did anything with it. She said, do you want it? I said, well, of course I'll take it. So there it is, Canadian Limited on the market since 1972. Yeah, it's good but cheap. Good equation, right? I didn't say it was great. Don't misquote me. I say it's good and cheap. You can get this big bottle for like $14.99 at some stores. $14.99. Or you can get the regular size. You said, well, I just want the regular glass bottle. Yeah, Walmart's got it for $8.49, something like that. It was $7.99 for the longest time. Daniel Sanders says Long Island iced tea is a red flag for bartenders. I don't know what that means. Okay. Anyway, I'm out of here. Y'all take care. Have a good Tuesday. I might do some videos today. I'll have one can left of the pirate water. I have pirate water. Let's see. I drank the margarita and I drank the Miami Vice, which was really good. I was shocked. And I had the third one, which is called something I can't remember. It's an orange label or something. It's going to be some kind of punch. You know, they're all these flavored malt beverages try to taste like punch, and they do taste like punch, just like fruit punch. And like if you went to a wedding and they got the punch, punch bowl. And but they're made with beer mostly, and but you got to watch it. They'll get you ripped apart. I mean, they're so strong. You just be in another world, and you'd be in a sick world later on. I'm gonna tell you. $14.99 sounds expensive for this big bottle. Well, maybe so, because I remember a few years ago they had a store around here having a special on it for $10.99. $10.99 for this big old bottle, and it didn't last. It sold out in 5 days. I mean, they had hundreds of bottles, I think. Yeah, inflation does suck, and you can blame the Federal Reserve System for that because they're the ones that cause inflation, and the U.S. government in collaboration with them. In fact, if they might have changed their website, but I used to look at the Federal Reserve website, and it would say on the website, the Federal Reserve System was created in 1913 in order to allow the U.S. government to inflate the money supply. That's what it said. Straightforward, which is the truth. They didn't have inflation really before 1913. Like if you bought an egg in 1800, let's say an egg was a penny in 1800. In 1900, it was a penny. If you bought a house in 1800 for $1,000, that same house, I mean, brand new in the same style, in 1900 would be $1,000. And actually, I think in the 1800s, there was a bit of deflation. So prices actually dropped. Your real wages went up from 1800 to 1900. But they didn't like that because they wanted to have all these socialistic spending projects. But they didn't have enough money. So they got this scheme cooked up in Jekyll Island, Georgia. And there's a book you can buy. It's very thick. You got to have patience. By E. Edward Griffin, and it's called the Creature from Jekyll Island. The Creature from Jekyll Island, and it's about the creation of the Federal Reserve System. And it's the same old story that we know about these big wigs who don't answer to anybody. They get together and come up with a scheme, and they have a meeting, and it's all worked out, and then they'll have the congressional debate, and they'll approve it. But that's more like a showcase. It's already been decided. They know what they're going to do already, but they'll say, the people have spoken, but the people didn't speak because they don't know anything about all that complicated stuff. It's like in England. I was thinking about that laying in bed last night. It's like in England or Canada. They have the people's parliament, the House of Commons, and they say, the people have spoken. Canada will do this. England will do this. Or the UK, what they say there. But that's all decided in back channels. They have the Privy Council. That's a private council. And those meetings are secret. There's no minutes taken. Well, at least not that we know of, you know what I mean? And all that's done on a different level. And, but then they could have the showcase, the House of Commons say, oh, yes, I propose we do this, but they already decided at the meetings in the background to do it. But then they'll say, oh, yeah. And but yeah, so have you ever drunk natural ice with Caliber? Oh no, Kevin, big joke. No, blame Biden. I would blame him, but he's not the only person to blame. You see, he wasn't around in 1913. He wasn't around in 1933. He was around in 1964, but he wasn't in Congress. All right. So a lot of these mile signposts that I'm talking about, they mean something. So you have to look into all of that. All right. Well, thanks. Y'all have a nice Tuesday. See y'all later tonight at 6:30 Eastern in about 12 hours for Wine Tuesday. Can't do Wednesday night. So we're doing Wine Tuesday. Any wine you want to bring, expensive, middle level, or the cheapest wine you could get your hands on, bring it and it will be broadcast. Yes. Okay. Y'all take care now. Bye bye. The winner is Cooper's Craft. It tastes better, but I couldn't tell it apart from Old Charter initially. So basically, it doesn't really win when you consider the price. You can save the $8 and you hadn't lost really much of anything. I hear you. All right, y'all take care. Bye bye.